Hello, I'm Mark Morial, President and CEO of the National Urban League. Welcome to America's Black Forum, a weekly show highlighting current issues from an African American perspective. We have an exciting show for you today, starting with a story about a beloved priest and activist who for more than 50 years fought for civil rights and for inclusion within the Catholic Church. We'll take a look at the remarkable life of Father George Clements. But first, for many African Americans, the home of the brave doesn't feel much like home anymore. So they're packing up and leaving the country for a new place to call home. What's driving many blacks to pursue the American dream abroad?
I had this beautiful car and this beautiful job and this beautiful house, but I was miserable, I was depressed, I was working 80 hours a week, my hair was falling out. It was a horrible life.
For Davia Antonia Shannon, the laid-back California lifestyle is a myth. She maintains that there are actually two Californias.
If you look like me, there's the California where you're just like working 10 jobs just to pay for the cost of living. And then there's the other California where people come to vacation, to go to the beach, to go skiing. But the rest of us that actually live there, there's not a lot of opportunity. So I didn't just leave for economic opportunities and economic reasons, but I left for safety purposes as well. And I didn't want to subject my children to the kind of fear that was kind of built into living in the city of Los Angeles into my kids.
So in March of 2016, Shannon packed up her things and moved with her twin daughters to Costa Rica.
When I was swimming in the ocean, I'm doing laps in the Caribbean Sea, and I literally felt like things were like melting off of me, like years of just frustration and disappointment and fear and anxiety. They were literally being washed off of me in the ocean. So while I was there, I was like, I want to feel like this every day. What do I need to do in my Los Angeles, California life to make this my new reality? Because I feel like I deserve it. I don't feel like I should wait till 60 years old to retire. I feel like I'm 38 and I'm ready to go. My kids are free. They get on their bikes. They go to the beach. And I have no doubt that they're going to be coming home that night. No doubt at all. They're coming home. But in Los Angeles, I wouldn't even let my kids 5 inches away from my door without me present.
Nearly 5,000 miles to the east across the Atlantic Ocean is the country of Ghana in Africa. It's where we find Novella Robinson, who left Los Angeles 4 years ago.
I was tired of it, for one, and then the fact that I can get more for my financials in another country versus the state. I was tired of robbing Peter to pay Paul, basically, with the lifestyle that I wanted to live. And then to actually have more of the peace where there wasn't all the shooting and stuff that takes place in the States. So that did definitely play a role in my move.
After serving 20 years in the U.S. Army rebuilding engines on Humvees, Robinson retired in Ghana.
I call this home. This is where I'm settled, and this is where I find my peace. The likelihood of me returning back to the States is very slim to none.
At last count, more than 5,000 former Americans now call Ghana home. Countless others have moved to other countries within Africa. Some have chosen Europe, while others have relocated to South America. Robinson and Shannon represent a growing number of African Americans who have decided to pack up and leave the U.S. behind for greener pastures.
I don't hate the States. Let me make that crystal clear. I'm not one of those that will bash America, but this is home for me. This is home. This is where my heart's at.
More than 6 million blacks fled the Deep South during the Great Migration. They moved north to cities like Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia to get away from racism, terror, and the lack of opportunity. Now, many blacks are on the move again for the same reasons, but this time they're moving out of the country.
Like after the George Floyd murder, I was booked appointment after appointment because people said, I don't want to die. I gotta get out of this place that hates me, that doesn't love me, or people that look like me. Lifeaholic Mom here. So today we are at the Cahuita National Park here in beautiful Cahuita.
Shannon calls herself a relocation specialist and operates a company called Lifeaholic Costa Rica. The company helps African Americans leave the U.S. and start a whole new life, just like she did.
I take copious notes. So whatever I do, whatever process, how I open my bank account, how I started my residency, how I shipped the car to Costa Rica, I basically put together in about 25 PowerPoint presentations the entire process from beginning to end. I basically provide the blueprint to help them replicate the exact steps that I took and what needs to be done to maintain and sustain this type of lifestyle.
Coming up, we will hear from one of Shannon's clients who is considering moving his family to Costa Rica. Should they stay or should they go?
This presentation of America's Black Forum is brought to you by USAA, insurance coverage for your high standards. Toyota, let's go places. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And Stellar TV, it's all good.
Welcome back. We've already heard the stories of two African Americans who were fed up with racism in the U.S. and found happiness in a new home in other countries. Now we're about to meet the Steffens family in Reno, Nevada. Thomas and his wife, Vernita, are thinking about moving to Costa Rica. So they've turned to Davia and Tonia Shannon for help.
My husband actually was the one that found her channel on YouTube.
So today we're going to go and buy some fresh fruits and vegetables from the farmer's market.
Before we just up and leave, we want to make sure we do our research. We want to make sure we, talk to people. And I like to have all my ducks in a row before just making a big choice like that. So finding somebody that lives down there, somebody that does that, that they can answer questions that I have, it was really important.
The couple met in college. Married for 18 years, they have 3 kids. They've been thinking about moving out of the U.S. for a while. But the murder of George Floyd and everything that followed really brought things into focus.
It was I felt like an uncomfortable environment, especially for me. I was getting very uncomfortable living in the States because, my kids are mixed, but they are viewed as Black kids. So just having that experience, I wanted them to experience something different than just being just looked at just because of the color of your skin as less than.
Vernita suffered a few racial insults in her own city of Reno.
So she had just random guy yelling, pulling over, screaming at her, saying racial slurs, another guy flipping you off in the car. Like I said, a lot of this stuff happens when I'm not around. I feel like a lot of people, they do it when they see her either by herself or with my kids. America's got such an emphasis on race right now. We got so much racial tension and stuff going on. And so that was definitely a big part of it.
Besides racial issues, the Steffens are also thinking about leaving the country for a better work-life balance.
Because at one point I was working 3 jobs, to basically support my kids and, make sure we can put a roof over their head and do everything we have to do.
Thomas Steffens remembers someone saying to him, take time to invest in living.
And I looked at my wife and I said, are we really doing that? Are we really truly investing in living, like enjoying each other's company and family time?
So the family decided it was time to check out Costa Rica.
Once we were there for about 3 days, everything, I was so relaxed, all the layers fell off, and I knew that we were safe. I knew that we didn't have anything to worry about. In Costa Rica, the Caribbean side where we were, it was so beautiful just to see the advertisements, the pictures of dentist offices, the pictures of the grocery stores where the people had skin color like us, like me, so that was a big change. It was awesome.
My kids, they really didn't know how to handle it because they haven't been around people that look like them.
All the people were nice. always talking, and I just felt safer there. Like I could walk around freely, the environment and everything.
But back in Reno, it's a different story where navigating through school has sometimes been difficult for the kids.
I never felt like I fit in with everybody because I felt like I was always left out a little bit because of me just being different, I guess.
The Steffens family has not decided yet when they will move to Costa Rica.
Said, we made the decision to stay in the States and let them finish school since they're so close to finishing school. But it's definitely something on the back of our thought to want to go somewhere outside of where we are. So.
Meanwhile, back in Ghana,
it can be challenging moving to a different country, especially by yourself.
And that's where the expertise and experience of Novella Robinson comes into play. Just like Davia Antonia Shannon in Costa Rica, Robinson helps African Americans transition to a new life in Africa.
So it just helps to have someone there that understands the language, understands the currency, understands, what it is that you need to be able to be successful on a daily basis.
Her 3 words of advice: research, research, research.
The reason why I push about research and stuff because I did come quickly. So I ended up, making some mistakes that I actually now help others not make those mistakes.
Robinson says one of the biggest challenges when moving to a new country is dealing with cultural differences.
The way we speak our English, their English is the British English, and ours, of course, is the state English. So understanding the communication that what one word may mean to me may mean something different to them. So that, I would say, was one of the biggest things to overcome.
So we're gonna go inside and see what we have.
Back in Costa Rica, Davia offers some advice to those who are frustrated with their current lifestyle.
If you are sitting there at your desk and you're not feeling full and you're not feeling fulfilled and you feel like you're worth more than this, I would say start looking into living and serving in a place that serves you back.
Shannon says that while it took some time getting used to her new life, she says leaving America and moving to paradise was the best decision she's ever made.
It's peaceful, it's quiet. I live 1 block from the beach. It's just a different lifestyle. So I don't miss anything. I don't miss anything because I have 10 times those things now in Costa Rica.
If you're considering moving out of the country, Novella Robinson says it's very important to come up with a plan and by all means, visit the place you're thinking about moving to before making any final decisions. And coming up, his last wish was for his sons to publish his autobiography, but only after his death. The Life and Times of Father George Clements is next. Father George Clements was a true trailblazer. The Chicago native was only the 2nd African-American priest ordained in the Archdiocese of Chicago. He worked tirelessly to spread the word of God, but he also was a true warrior who vigorously fought for racial and social justice. Father Clements became the first Catholic priest in the country to adopt a child. He adopted 4 sons in all, and now his adult children are helping to bring Clements' story to light in the new autobiography titled Just Don't Ignore Me.
I was in an orphanage, and the director of DCFS approached my father to address the issues of homeless Black children, and we needed to try to figure something out about it. And long story short, my father came to the orphanage, met me, and decided he wanted to follow up with this situation. So he had come back to the parish and was trying to encourage, the parishioners to get involved with Black adoptions, and got a lot of pushback.
Joey Clements was the first of his 4 brothers to be adopted, followed by Friday, Stuart, and St. Anthony. Despite Father Clements' pleas to his parishioners to get involved with Black adoptions, his calling didn't resonate with many.
So he just stood up one day and said, okay, if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And here I sit today, here my brother sits today. It's literally one of those things to whereas my father was one of those guys, if you told him something couldn't happen, that's when he made it happen the most.
Black adoptions would not be the only issue Father Clements would tackle with such fervor during his 20-plus years as pastor of Holy Angels Parish on Chicago's South Side. He worked to rid the city of gangs and held neighborhood store owners accountable for the products they sold, which promoted drug use.
He started to fight with Father Michael Flager to going into the stores and removing all the drug paraphernalia. You know, if the citizens didn't have the tools to use it, then they couldn't do it. You know, was kind of the premise from that. And that caused such an uproar with the gangs and with the drug dealers, to whereas there was a period of time that we literally had to walk around with armed guards. We had volunteer police officers that would volunteer to help protect my father because the gangs and the drug dealers wanted him gone.
Friday Clements believes the issue of race played a key role in shaping his father's views on justice and influenced much of the work Father Clements would do for the rest of his life.
He went through a lot to get to where he actually eventually got. He faced a lot of obstacles as a teen. He faced a lot of obstacles in the priesthood. There was a lot of racism when he was in the priesthood. I mean, he was one of 2 people in his class who were Black. And he was inducted to a culture that he was not used to. Okay? And he had a heavy load to carry because he didn't want to disappoint. He felt that he needed to represent his race and his culture. And somebody at that young, in that time frame, he was fighting a battle by himself.
When he started fighting against recidivism in prisons, he started One Church, One Inmate. Of course, you know, One Church, One Child started with us. And then there was One Church, One Addict. So those same addicts that he was trying to get rid of the paraphernalia from, okay, those addicts, he gave them opportunities to, you know, to go and get help and be rehabilitated and become successful members of society.
Over the years, Father Clements' tireless fight for justice would take him all over the world. His work even drew the attention of Hollywood. In 1987, The Father Clements Story, starring Louis Gossett Jr., made its way to the small screen. Father George Clements died on November 25, 2019, at the age of 89. Friday Clements points out that his father was never satisfied. He was always striving to make the world a better place.
The church can always be better. The country can always be better. Our political leaders can always be better. So I never think it gets to a point where it says, okay, now I'm content. Because you may be content in one thing, but that's something else. My dad, until his dying breath, never stopped trying to help or think about how to help or try to bring people together. There was never a day like, okay, now my work is done. I don't think his work was done when he closed his eye for the final time. And I miss him a lot. And I miss him a lot. And I wish even though we spend a lot of time together, I wish he was still here because I need him around. I needed him around, but such is life. He's in a much better place.
Just Don't Ignore Me is available on Amazon. For more details about Father George Clements' autobiography, log on to our website, americasblackforum.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Before we wrap up today's show, congratulations are in order for astronaut Jessica Watkins. She will soon become the first Black woman on NASA's International Space Station. According to NASA, Watkins will live and work on the space station during a long-term mission. She will serve as a mission specialist for the agency's SpaceX Crew 4 mission for its 4th crew rotation. We're looking forward to hearing more about Jessica Watkins and her upcoming journey. Well, that wraps up this week's show. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Mark Morial.
This presentation of America's Black Forum has been brought to you by USAA, insurance coverage for your high standards. Toyota, let's go places. State Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And Stellar TV, it's all good.